Okay, David. So I wanted to ask you some questions about blood sugar and glycemic load. From what I'm understanding, and I want to see if you would agree with this, for weight control and general metabolic health, it's a good idea to keep blood sugar levels pretty even. Would you agree with that?
Completely. I mean, I think that's ultimately the most important thing for weight control, and it's incredibly important for a bunch of other degenerative diseases as well: cardiovascular disease, diabetes, stroke risk. Possibly, there's some data now indicating that there's a relationship between insulin and cancer as well. But quickly, over time, the cells become resistant to that insulin, and that's going to get stored as fat.
Okay, so does this mean that potatoes and cinnamon rolls and this kind of thing is off the fly list forever? How do we eat if we also want to enjoy these other kinds of foods?
Well, I think those should be looked at very differently. Certainly, cinnamon rolls have a tremendous amount of sugar in them, refined sugar. It's a refined grain. It's a pretty horrible food from all sorts of perspectives and should be used extremely infrequently. Potatoes are an interesting example because potatoes, white potatoes in particular, they do turn into sugar very rapidly, so they will cause an increase in insulin. So there's something to the wisdom of having a baked potato with some sort of fat like sour cream or butter, rather than the more conventional, ideas of having baked potatoes with a low fat topping. There's a reason why we have a high fat topping on it. That reason is that it slows down the absorption. So if we take a baked potato, which is a very high glycemic food, combine it with a low glycemic food like sour cream or butter, that's going to even it out so that the absorption won't happen as rapidly.
Okay, so from what I'm understanding at this point, our body looks at like a lump of sugar or a piece of potato, and from the metabolic insulin point of view, it goes same thing. So to slow down that sugar burn, what you're saying is add some fat, add some
Correct.
delicious butter, organic ideally, add some
Correct.
cream cheese, this kind of thing. It's
Yep.
actually going to be healthier for you in the long run.
Yes, and it's actually surprisingly, it's counterintuitive to some degree from how we're taught, but it's actually going to be better from a weight loss perspective
Great.
because we're going to be promoting more insulin sensitivity. We're not going to have as much of an insulin surge because we're not going to be taking in glucose so quickly, and less of it's going to ultimately be stored as fat.
Great. Let's eat.